Hello, Daff here. With 2023 coming to a close, it got me thinking about what I always think about. Persona 3. Big surprise, I know. But Persona 3 and New Year's are actually very closely connected. End of game spoiler warning, by the way. When Ryoji gives S.E.E.S the option to face Nyx and likely lose, or kill him to be blissfully ignorant of the death that was coming, S.E.E.S has until midnight on December 31st to make their decision. Unlike the rest of us, their New Year's resolution, whether they took a stand or stayed down, would determine their fate. In the good ending, S.E.E.S resolves to fight Nyx for the small chance of preventing the fall. There's something special about their determination that I think we should apply to our own lives in this new year. But first, allow me to preface by saying, I hate New Year's resolutions. I remember back in grade school, we had to write a list of New Year's resolutions before Christmas break every year. Everyone always had the same empty statements.
I'm gonna eat healthier.
I'm gonna study harder.
I'm gonna be kinder.
Blah-de-blah-de-blah. These are fine goals, but two things about them always irked me. Firstly, no one ever stuck to them. By the time we were all back from break, everyone had already forgotten. I'm sure there are some folks who actually stick to their resolutions, and they probably make them more specific. But a majority undoubtedly don't, especially among school children. So being forced to rack our brains for a list of 10 things we aren't going to do once a year just felt like a waste of time. But secondly, and most importantly, why should we wait until our arbitrary construct of time resets for another cycle to better ourselves? If we really cared about these goals, we'd start them as soon as we can. Why waste time waiting for the calendar to catch up? For these two reasons, I never made New Year's resolutions on my own. I found them pointless. But this year, I proposed an alternative. As I mentioned before, S.E.E.S' resolution was to fight Nyx and fight for everyone to have a chance to live. They didn't make that resolution for the same reasons we do. As far as they knew, this coming New Year could be their very last one. But what does this have to do with our resolutions, you may ask? Well, S.E.E.S resolved to make the most of their possibly last New Year. They'd fight to get many more years out of their lives. But even if they failed, they'd be content knowing they never gave up and lived until the very end. This sentiment is reflected in everyone's conversations about their decisions.
I want to fight to the end. It's better than doing nothing.
I've made my decision as well. Kirijo is making great strides to turn itself around. After I graduate, I plan to assume leadership of the group and continue where my father left off. I cannot turn back now, even if I wanted to.
You know, if things don't work out, I think I'll still be okay as long as I'm with everyone. Honestly, it doesn't matter whether or not we die. All that matters is that we're proud of how we lived. And I'd be proud if we decided to fight Nyx.
An undefeatable enemy, huh? Gosh, wonder what it's like.
You got me. But it doesn't matter because I've made up my mind. I'm gonna look it straight in the eyes.
Straight in the eyes. I like the sound of that. You can count me in too.
Actually, I'm still scared. But after thinking about it, I realized that I don't want to lose my memory. If I forget everything, that means I'll forget Chidori too. And I wouldn't even be alive right now if it wasn't for her, you know? So I say F that.
You're scared because you're not running away. That's nothing to be ashamed of. That's why I want to protect everyone. The future hasn't been decided yet. And I want to be true to myself.
We should fight.
I agree.
We also see this in how they still choose to celebrate New Year's together, enjoying each other's company, and making the most of the dire situation. S.E.E.S was facing the end of the world, but if you really think about it, we don't face an all too different question every New Year. It's just a question we don't often ask. Will this be my last year? As morbid as it is to say, none of us know when we'll die. It could be this year, it could be the next, it could be decades from now. But ultimately, we will all die, and not one of us could ever predict it. So my proposition for an alternative New Year's resolution, inspired by S.E.E.S, is to live every New Year like it might be your last, and fight so that I won't. Make sure to enjoy every year to the fullest, even the ones that aren't so great. It can be tempting to say 20 whatever was the worst year of my life, and be completely justified. But that kind of labeling minimizes all the good that happened amidst the bad. I can sympathize with people who make these statements because, if I'm being honest, 2023 was my worst year, with 2022 probably being a close second. I get how overwhelming the bad can be, but I also have to admit, a lot of great stuff happened in those 2 years as well. None of that will ever make up for the losses, but I shouldn't let the bad overshadow the good, or the year will be even harder to get through, or more painful to recall. So make the best of even the worst years, whether it's your last or not. On top of that, look forward to each new year with the same resolve. S.E.E.S fought unsure of whether they'd get another year, and we honestly don't know either. So we have to make each year count. This is a New Year's resolution I can get behind, and hopefully you guys agree. Tell you what, I'll stick to this resolution for once, if you do too. That sound good? I hope you keep this in mind in 2024 and every year that follows. I also hope you had a great 2023, enjoyed any New Year's celebrations you may have had, and that you have many years left to live to the fullest. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and comment below what you're looking forward to this year. I imagine Persona 3 Reload is on that list. Stay safe, fellas. Memento mori.